I'm not allowed to talk because the audio is. People will hear me. Okay, tell me when.
You're up.
Hey, welcome. Happy Thursday. Welcome to On Set. I am Daniel Norton. I'm here tonight with Paulina. Hi. And Seth on the Mighty Mix. And today, so I get lots and lots of people that send me messages constantly. Most of them are spam, but people actually send them to me as well. And they say, Daniel, can you do an event with inexpensive lights? So instead, I decided to do one with an inexpensive camera because you can't give people what they want, right? We never give them what they want, just a little close to. No, it's one of those things, right? We as photographers oftentimes see people using very expensive gear or pro-type gear, especially if you're watching like behind the scenes of like advertising shoots or whatever it might be, and you might be intimidated and think, well, I can't really do anything because I can't afford that, or it's not in my budget right now, or I'm not at that level. But what I thought I would do is take this camera, which is, this is a Nikon Z50, which I'll talk about in a second, and we're just gonna make some portraits with it. And technique is technique, no matter what camera you're using, no matter what size the sensor is, no matter what. So all this will help you, and you don't need to be restricted and think you can't work because you don't have, a certain level of gear. Now, there's reasons to have, of course, more expensive gear, and if you get a large advertising gig, you probably want to make sure you have the right cameras for that. But when you're starting or when you're trying to do smaller projects, there's no reason why you have to have the most expensive camera and lenses to get decently good shots. So that's what we're gonna hopefully prove today. I've been using this Z50 now for, I don't know, Seth, how long have I been using it for? A while. I think I got this when it was pretty much released. So I've had this camera for 7, 8 months. I mostly use it to shoot video. I got it as a camera to use to shoot live streams. And oftentimes when you're watching these live streams here, I'm using the Z50 in the last handful of live streams, and whenever I do them for my channel, this is the camera I use. It gives me excellent quality for a live stream. It's got a lot of features built in, and it's relatively inexpensive. Right now I'm using actually I don't know which one's which. Is Z6 or Z6 II? So I'm using the better cameras to video, just to kind of show you the thing. But everything has its place, I guess is what I'm saying. And I got this for that reason. You shouldn't always feel like you have to have, evaluate each piece of equipment that you think you're going to get, and then work with it as needed. But let's say this is the only camera I had, and I wanted to make some portraits of Paulina, which I do. Let's see what we can do. This camera is, obviously prices always change, but I think it's like around $1,000 with the lens. So it's pretty inexpensive as far as like a mirrorless, full-featured camera goes. It is APS-C, so it's not full frame, the legendary full frame. But how important is that really depends on the type of work that you're doing. We're gonna be in a controlled situation here, and I'm gonna work at 100 ISO. So most of the advantage to the full frame cameras is going to be quality and low light, meaning like less noise. That's not really gonna be an issue here at all. Yes, your lenses feel different, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But for what we're gonna do, and this is oftentimes what I tell people, I meet people all the time that have only ever used APS-C cameras, and they have this thing in their head that they need full frame. But if you've never used a 35mm film camera, or you've never used a full frame digital camera, the whole equivalency of lenses means nothing to you, right? The lens is what it is. Because in the end, it's field of view that's important. Oh, it's kind of warm in here. Yeah, so I knew it was gonna be warm. Actually, I knew it was gonna be warm because Seth told me. He was like, it's gonna be warm in here. And I was like, it's not that warm. And then, of course, it's warm. So that's good to know in the weather. All right, so now we're ready. You ready?
Ready.
We're ready. Okay, so this camera, you can get it 2 different ways. The way I have it is with the 16 to 50. You can also get it with this lens and a longer lens. I think it's 50 to 200. Or you can get it with no lens, of course. And what I'm gonna do though is I'm gonna set up, like I say, kind of a standard portrait. I'm using Profoto lights because I save so much money on my camera, right? I can afford more expensive lights. This is the B1x. I'm gonna turn the other one off for now. Okay. All right, so we're gonna start off shooting kind of a standard portrait. This is by the way, this is very cool. It's a Lassolite, Seth told me the name and I forgot already. It's a pop-up background. They're very cool. Vintage. Vintage. Sometimes I like to refer myself as vintage, right? It's like a cool way. No, they're reverse-sided, and We're going to swap it out in a minute, but it's kind of like a pop-up background, very convenient. So let's do it. All right, so you're going to be, yeah, we can be around the X. That seems like a good spot. This is a 3-foot octagon. It's one of my go-tos when I'm going to. And we're going to place it kind of in a 45-ish degree direction, just like they teach you to do in photo school. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my flash off. And I'm going to set my camera to get a black frame, meaning that we don't want any of the light in the space to affect our shot. So I'm going to set my shutter speed at the maximum sync speed. Well, I believe the maximum sync speed is 200, but I always set this camera at 160 because I just do. I'm going to set my ISO at 100, which is the lowest in the normal range. And I'm going to put myself, I'm just going to look through it. I mean, it's mirrorless. I can see it's dark. And I'm just going to adjust my, I'm looking at the meter and I'm also looking, and I'm just going to adjust it until it looks black to me, which f8 looks pretty good.
Really dumb question first.
Okay.
How is the background mounted?
How is the background mounted? Oh, right. Should I show it off? I'm going to do my Vanna White thing. This is pretty cool. See how I did that? By the way, if you ever want to be a model for backgrounds, you have to. See how I did that? Did you like that pose? Right? It's magnetic. It's magnetic. Just like my bracelets for arthritis. All right, so. So easy to do. Perfect. There you go. Yeah, it's pretty cool. What's that called? Crossbar. Magnet crossbar. There we go. All right, did it. All right. Looking in my professional photographer handbook, it tells me that I should use the longest lens possible when shooting a portrait. So since I have a 16 to 50, I'm going to set it at 50. I'm going to look through the camera, and of course I see nothing because it's black. And I'm going to take a picture. I am tethered into Capture One. And we will make a photo here. Let's see. It really is dark, huh? Da, 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 da. All right, you gotta turn this off so the flash doesn't go off. Anticipation is happening. Everybody's going wild. The crowd's going wild here waiting for this. Well, I see what's happening. Okay. Here we go. Focusing. Good. All right. We've got a black frame. Okay. Does that look really long?
What?
Yeah.
Are you on a weird aspect ratio?
I am on a weird aspect ratio. Today I've decided to shoot cinematically. All right, so we can see here the frame is black. I'm going to grab my slider here, my exposure slider, and I'm going to pull it over until we start to see her. There she is. So yeah, we're over three stops dark here. So we're pretty good at f8. I'm going to change the aspect ratio thing going on here, which, you know, we all like to do that.
Huh.
Does it look weird to you, or am I crazy? This is the part of the session where I hand the camera.
Complaining that this camera's too much money to begin with, and the background's too much money to begin with. So.
No, it's not too much money. It shoots really long and skinny.
Yeah.
Can your camera do that? No, right? I clearly have it in some kind of weird mode.
sRGB, by the way.
Ah. And I'm in sRGB. Well, it's, you know. Yeah,
Wow.
I've got it.
Did you factory reset this?
I factory reset the camera before we started.
Yeah, you're on 16 by 9.
I'm on 16 by 9. Yep, there we go. So let's put it on DX. Yeah. Thank you. All right. We'll just cut that part. All right, so here we go. Nobody cares about that. So we got a black frame, right? Now let's bring the flash in. So I'm going to use something called TTL. I know what you're saying. You're like, Daniel, but you always use the TTL remote with the expensive cameras. Guess what? It works with every camera, right? As long as you have a shoe on top. Included with every camera is the TTL. Okay, here we go. right, so let's just see what we get here. Oh, I gotta set this so I can actually see through the thing. There we go. You look good. Boom. Flash goes off. There's Paulina. It's perfect. The crop is on, so I'll take that off. She's proper ratio. TTL looks good. And there you go, guys. So you can shoot with an inexpensive camera. Weekend. No, I'm just kidding. No, so this is easy, right? It works the same, right? At this point, like when we bang into this, you know, nobody's seeing that this was shot with the camera that's less expensive. You know, I mean, it's 21-ish megapixels, right? So yes, you can definitely pay for more megapixels, but for most use, I mean, a 20 megapixel camera can very easily make, you know, your standard kind of 8x10s or my 14 portrait prints easily. So we have this light set up. Let's bring a second one in. Since we have that beautiful background that we're not showing, the background, of course, is black in the photo because no light's hitting it. So we'll bring another light around. This one is equipped with the Chimera Pro 2 softbox. And we're just going to kind of rake it across the background a little bit. Maybe we'll see this softbox. Oh, you can see it. I like this softbox because it's flat-fronted, which means that the light's going to spread everywhere, right? It's not going to be so controlled, let's say like the Octagon is. And this is going to be to our benefit here because we're going to be able to let the light hit both a little cut on Paulina's hair and also hit the background. So let's throw the modeling light on. And we can see that it's going to hit the background and a little bit on Paulina. Like that. All right. That's in my B group. The key light there, the main light there is in the A group. I'm going to turn the front light off for a second. And let's just see what this does by itself. It'll probably give me a funky exposure because there's only one light going on, but I just want to see its position. Yeah, there we go, right? That's good. Then we'll turn A back on. You know, I'm doing exactly the same thing that I would do with any other system. And we see that it's easy enough to create very simple portrait, nice and sharp, nice and clean, got a little bokeh action going on. And here's the thing, like this lens is a 3.5, 5.6 lens, or 3.5, 6.3. But for studio work, anyways, I'm gonna be shooting it like f8. So the fact that the lens is not tremendously fast for this type of work doesn't actually matter to me. In fact, I want that depth of field. And you can see that even at f8, partially because of the design of the background, but also partially because of how close I'm standing to Paulina, you can see it's clearly out of focus, right? We don't need a 1.2 lens to necessarily get that out of focus with this particular setup. Right, nice and easy. That was almost too easy. Was it too easy? It's too easy. Clearly it's too easy. Clearly it's too easy. All right, perfect. And not only that, we can go wide. Because I got a zoom lens. This is a 16 millimeter, which is also a format for on a crop sensor. Right? Here we go. If you want to be cool and have like all your stuff in the shot, bam, look at that. Now I'm cool. I could be on a fashion blog. I'd be like, look at me. I'm a photographer. I got my equipment in the shot. Look at it go in there. Model. Right? Easy. You know, that's how you do it. But that's, so you can see I get a lot of range out of this lens. Nice and sharp, even at 16 millimeters. Yeah, easy. You're making it too easy. You like that, right? See, she likes it. There you go. Instagram. That is Instagram candy. Instagram candy.
I need to look up, but yeah.
Yeah, she needs to look up. So she's going to look up. Watch, I'll do it again. Watch how I can do it. The camera's so small, I can just hold it like this. I'll be like, work it, yeah. Boom, right? There she is. Oh, let me do it again. Watch how I do this. Watch this technique. See how I'm also kind of posing? I'm definitely posing at this point. Right? Boom, there we go. Good. Enjoy. Cute. See? There we go. That's all you need, right? Powerful. Fashion. Instagram. And let's say that we were like, you know what? That was too easy. We could change the background. Watch this. This has nothing to do with the camera, but since I already did it once, there we go. Purple. My lovely assistant here. There we go. Look at that.
You want a different one.
There we go, purple. And we got more. We saved so much money on the camera that we have 1 million backgrounds. All right, so let's see what this looks like. Now we might want to adjust our exposure a little bit because we have a different background. Let's take a look. Yeah, I'm going to make the background light a little bit. Actually, I'm not going to change its exposure. I want it to be a little darker, but I also want a little more separation. So if you stay where you are, I'm just going to take the light. And now I move the light. It's weird. I'm adjusting the angle of the light so that basically it should hit her more and the background less. It's subtle, but it's going to happen. There we go, right? More light on her, less on the background. Just like that, right? 2 shots for the price of 1. I kind of like that purple, actually.
Yeah, it's not bad, right?
Yeah, these are nice backgrounds. Thanks, Seth. I just basically come here and use all Seth's stuff. That's pretty much what I do. That's pretty much my standard thing.
I make you work out all the bugs, and I'm like,
That's
all right, I can use it now.
Right, exactly. It's teamwork. Yeah, any questions so far about this?
No, I mean, they're just kind of going over the discussion. Let's be frank. The discussion is you're using a $900 camera, sure, but now there's $6,000 in light and aids like that. Like you want to discuss
Right.
doing things with what you have. And
Yeah, of course. So, sure, right? I'm using expensive lights, right? Because that's what I have, right? If you're looking at that and not the camera, you're missing the point, right? The idea here is that normally I'm using an expensive camera and now I'm not, but you see we're still getting great results. You could do the same thing when we'll do inexpensive lights next time. The idea here is that you pay for certain things, right? Some of those things are not necessarily always needed and they certainly shouldn't hold you back. You can produce with a camera like this very easily, actually. This is actually a pretty darn good camera for its price. And you can actually start here and then use this to move forward, right? Let's say that you start with the Z50 and then you start working, you do some headshots, you make a little cash. Now you have some money. You could upgrade to a different camera. You could use this as a backup. Or you might want to, maybe spend the money on a lens instead, right? We could swap to a more high-end lens, a faster lens, let's say, if you want to do something, maybe shooting in location, you want more shallow depth of field. So the idea here is we're building and going, right? The fact is you don't go, well, hold on, I have an inexpensive camera, so I have to use inexpensive lights. Just like you don't have to say, I have an expensive camera, I have to use expensive lights, right? You use what you have, and you have to understand the limitations of those things. So that's basically where we're at here. That's kind of my direction here. I don't know. Right? Make sense? Yeah. Paulina says it makes sense, so. Yeah, that's basically it. What do you think? Nice and easy, right? Should we take one more? Let's take another picture. All right. Actually, I like this camera for this. Full disclosure, I have never shot still pictures with this camera before. This is literally the first time I've ever done it. But I had faith in it because I've shot a lot of video with it. And it's doing a great job. It's sharp, She looks good. The color is nice. It's really pretty impressive for a $1,000 camera. You're really getting a lot here. And again, I just want to say again, people will get obsessed with things that probably don't mean a lot. You want to believe that they do, I guess, or you think that they do because a lot of people seem to be projecting that idea. But the fact that this is not full frame doesn't mean that it's not a good camera. What it means is that your sensor is smaller, which means if you did have the equivalent amount of megapixels to a full frame, the actual pixels are going to be smaller, which means you're going to tend to have more noise in low light, right? Whether or not that matters to you depends on the work you do, right? If I'm shooting at f8 in flash, I'm at 100 ISO. I don't care, right? And that's really where it matters. If you're somebody that's going to shoot a lot in low light, or somebody that wants tremendously wide lenses, then having a full frame camera is going to benefit you, right out of the box. But if not, you could take this camera, like if you had $3,000 to start with, instead of spending $3,000 on a lens and a camera, you could spend $1,000 on this camera and lens, and then also get lights and some backgrounds, and also buy lunch, because everybody needs lunch, right? And this is kind of where I think we have to think about equipment like that, right? You want to think of your overall budget. You want to think about how you're going to use it. And I think that, you know, you could definitely pull this off. Now, let's should we switch to a different lens?
Yeah, sure.
We're gonna switch to a different lens. So I happen to have two lenses here. So when I got my Z6, I picked this guy up. This is the 50mm 1.8. This is like a $600 lens, roughly, so almost as much as the package here. And then I've also got this 24mm 1.8, which actually is almost $1,000. So these are both, you know, they're not crazy expensive lenses. They're a reasonable upgrade to somebody that has this system. You know, if you're buying this, you're probably not going to walk out and buy a $3,000 lens, but a $600 lens to get something faster, you know, could be maybe in your budget. So let's swap this lens out. So I turn the camera off. So what's interesting, and of course this is all Z mount, right? So they all work together. So let's take a second to talk about, I don't know what the kids are calling it these days, but we'll call it crop factor. So I'm not going to get super technical here. The idea of what a 50mm lens does to or shows you or is, for many people, like let's say me, comes from the idea that we shot back in the day of film, and if you're shooting on 35mm film, you think of a 50 having a certain field of view, like what you can see, right? When you look through the camera, what the 50 is roughly, you know, this much, right? When you put it on, let's say, a camera, like an APS-C sensor camera, that is a smaller sensor than 35mm, what you get is basically a crop. You see less, you know, at the same distance. So if I take a full frame camera and I stand right here and Pauline is right there and I use a 50mm, I take a shot and then I switch cameras but I keep everything else the same, you'll see it'll be punched in, right? It'll be closer to her. This is why people tried to simplify this when they were explaining it to the first people that were using digital cameras as equivalents. They'd be like, well, a 50 is an equivalent of a 75. It's not really like it's the same lens. What it is that you're seeing roughly the field of view of that. So what does that mean to us really? Well, it means that with the same lens, to get the same framing, we need to stand back a little bit further. That's all it really means. But it also means, if you want to look at it more on a positive light, it means that with the same lens, we are actually in closer, right? So basically what's going to happen is I'm going to step back further than I would normally have to get a frame up on Paulina than I would on a full frame. That's all it is. It doesn't actually, for most people, it's not ever going to be an issue. But that's really what it means. And Seth does a very good job of explaining it in his last video for the Olympus lens, actually. Probably better than I just did. Because that's micro four thirds, which is even smaller. And of course, the same is true, by the way, in large format. I mean, anybody who was back from the film days that shot any format besides 35mm already knows this. You know, when you were shooting with the Hasselblad, right, with the, let's say a 6x6 Hasselblad, you already knew that like an 80 on that was kind of a wide-ish lens. But like an 80 on a 35mm camera isn't wide, it's kind of like a short portrait lens, right? And that's because of the crop factor. Okay, now we've upgraded our lens. It's you know, this lens is probably a bit sharper, right? It's definitely faster, so if I wanted to do like a shallow depth of field, I could do that. Oh, should I go like shallow depth of field, like the cool kids do? Let's see, I'm gonna go down to, I'll go to 2.8.
You're gonna get room light, aren't you?
Probably. Yep. So, I'm in manual. This is basically the shot that you get when Daniel doesn't set the camera properly. Let's switch back to TTL. Let's do that again. We'll cut that part. That's what I concentrate too much on jokes and not enough on the camera. All right, there we go. So, I'm at 2.8. Well, I switched to TTL, by the way. That's why the background's darker again. You can see the lens is nice and sharp. We've got a bit more shallow depth of field. Let's turn that background light up a tiny bit. Okay, so the reason what happened there, guys, just in case I know some people miss these things, I left it in manual, and of course I went to 2.8, so of course it was overexposed. So to reset my exposure, I put it back in TTL, right? So I'm letting the camera decide. But whenever you have two lights going on in TTL, it's hard to get them to be exactly perfect, especially when they're crossing each other. So you got to kind of tweak each one separately. So I'm going to turn the background light up a stop and a half to get that nice hair light going on again. Yeah, there we go. There we go, right? Balance of the lights, ratios, easy, right? Now we're 2.8. And if we take a look at this versus this, we can see that, you know, the 2.8 has that really creamy, like you go out, right, and you're just like, man, I'm gonna spend money on this really nice background. Nah, I don't like to see what the background looks like. I'll just make it out of focus, right? And there you go. No, but that's what you can do, right? You can clean and get different looks in the background because here I'm at f8 and here I'm at 2.8. I might be picking up a little bit of room light. Let me just see. I'm going to drop the flash and just see if I get any of the room light in here. I don't think I'm getting much. I can see her a little bit. Yeah, just a tiny bit. Not a lot. Yeah, that's good. So that's, by the way, just, you know, the black frame. So you see it's not black because we're at 2.8. Now I could, let's see. I don't know if I want to be a wild man here because I reset the camera, so now I have to go in here to see if I can go to the high-speed sync. If this camera does. Yep. Where is it under? Is it the wrench?
No.
No, it's the pencil, right?
Yeah, then go into flash. E. You could just touch it too.
Oh.
Auto FP. Yep.
Auto FP.
Reset the whole camera factory settings. What do you do? I don't know how you do these things. That's the real amazing.
This is the kind of stuff that I do. All right, so I'm going to go into, which is always a risky area, high-speed sync. Okay. Oh, that's good. Perfect. It's a little dark, so because I'm in manual, remember. I'm going to now adjust my shutter because actually what I want to do is actually go even more shallow in depth of field. Because, you know, once you spend this money on this lens, you gotta go crazy. There we go. That might be a smidge bright. Let me go a little darker on my shutter. You can do this totally in TTL, but I like to do high-speed sync in manual because I feel like you get a little more control. There you go, perfect. Focusing. There we go. Now we're 1.8, right? Look at how creamy the background is. Ooh, out of focus. So yeah, I mean, you can basically shoot, you know, more wide open. Also, you know, generally speaking, your prime lenses are sharper a little bit, you know. So you can definitely upgrade this. And what's cool about this too is that if I take this 50 now, let's say 6 more months go by and I pick up a Z6 or a Z7 or whatever, I can now take this 50 and put it on there and it will be 50, right? If I put the APS-C style lenses, the DX lenses, onto my full frame camera, they will work, but it will do it'll crop down the sensor. So by going to these, you know, full frame lenses, it allows us to have some like future-proof essentially. So that's usually a good step, right? You start with your kit, right? Your inexpensive camera with its lens that comes with it, and then we invest in some lenses and we start building our kit up that way. So it lets us do it in stages without spending all the money at once. And that's pretty creamy. I like that, right? Any other thoughts, questions, concerns? Do they want to see a different light? Let's see a different light. Let's do a, I'm going to make it go away because I think I'm going to use I'm going to do almost like a butterfly light.
Okay.
And then I'm going to come in with a fill.
You can do a little inverse square, black it out.
A little bit. That should do it with this. Yeah, I think you're good. I'm going to do that thing where you hide under the light.
Oh gosh, okay.
Yeah. I'm going to turn the B light off. So I'm turning off the background light, guys. I'm going to go back to TTL again. And I'm not going to keep it in 1.8 because that's just, I don't really want to do that. I'm going to go back down to, let's go to 5.6. Because even with lenses that are tremendously fast, because going to still be sharper when you're closed down a bit, you know. There we go. So here we're changing up our lighting pattern. This is more in front of her, kind of butterfly-ish. Not exactly, but close. And of course the background's going dark because of the inverse square. So what I'm gonna do is take this. Since Paulina has such great bone structure, I'm gonna really throw some shadow here. Don't worry, I won't drop it on you. So I'm not booming it out, so I don't need to use this sandbag. But if you start booming this thing out, you definitely want to throw a sandbag on it. Or if you can charge for the sandbag. Like if there's like a, oh, it's a smidge dark. Give it a little, get a couple tenths, I like it. There we go. Yeah, if you can like charge the client like $5 a sandbag, you just always want to use one. Yeah, see I raised the light up, I tipped the light a bit. That gives us a little bit more kind of butterfly contrast, kind of a beauty light. You can see how our cheekbones are looking like cheekbones, you know? And not like, I don't know what other kind of bones they be, rib bones, ham bones. All right, yeah, let's throw a light on the background. So this background already has this like, you know, this fade. So I don't have to throw a grid on there or anything. I'll just blast it with light. We should get a nice fade out. Take B, turn it back on. And again, I'm going to turn off the front light again just to get a base exposure for the background. We just want to see what it's going to do. Right? Okay, so that's bright. So I'm going to take B. I'm going to switch to manual again. I'm going to take B. I'm going to turn it down 2 stops. Turn A back on. And that'll give us a totally different look. Right? And now we've got this more kind of dramatic beauty light on her. We're at 5.6, so this is again mostly in focus. But again, if I want to change it, right? If I'm like, oh, you know, it's too in focus for me, I can very easily, because now I have this faster lens, I can very easily drop it to, let's say, I don't know, should I be like a wild man and go to f4? We don't usually do f4 around here, but there we go. She's a smidge dark, but I will adjust that in a second. Yeah, it's a little bit more shallow. Let me give you a touch of light up front. So I'm just giving her a tiny bit more light, guys. There we go. Right. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe a little bit more. That's A. How's that? Yeah, there we go. Just edging it up a little bit, right? Work your chin up a tiny bit. Let's do one more with the chin up a bit. You got the light up there. Yeah. There we go. Perfect. There we go. Nice and clean. F4. High-speed sync. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of shooting exactly the way I always shoot, right? I think that's the point here, is that this isn't much different than what we normally do, and you can do it pretty easily with a system like this. By the way, I'm also tethered in Capture One, if that's not obvious, which of course is something that we do whenever we're doing a shoot like this. It works just fine. Not every camera tethers into Capture One, but the vast majority do, so just check your camera, I guess. And a lot of cameras will also tether into Lightroom if they don't go into Capture One or if you don't have Capture One. Should we switch colors here, Seth? Oh, you know what we should do? Hold on, watch what else you can do.
What do you want to switch to?
Before, let's go back to the, well, let's do whatever we want.
You want to do a different color completely?
Yes.
What do you want to do?
Let's do apricot. Are you going to fold this really cool, or should I try?
Do it, do it.
Ah!
Oh, you're so cool.
Not bad, right? It is easy. Yeah, I like that one.
This one?
Yep. What do you call that one?
I think it's called tobacco.
Tobacco.
Or walnut or something like a food.
Maple walnut. That's like the ice cream my mother eats. Actually, I want to do it horizontally. I've heard that's what the kids are doing. So let's say that you're young and hip like I am, and you want to shoot horizontally for the interweb.
Man, this is the first time I opened this.
Yeah, this is brand new stuff here. I'll crop that part off. It's a little wrinkly. All right. Go kind of a little close to it. I'm gonna do a single light shot because people love single light shots. It's not even Valentine's Day. All right. Also, if you're like tremendously shy as a photographer, and you can set the light up like this, and then they can't really see you when you're shooting. You know, it can be like back here, they can't see you. It's like, oh my God, there's a model there. No, I am good. Let me go back to TTL so I don't screw it up. See, again, joking and not shooting properly. Right, here we go. Here we go. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, nice. I like that brown color. Beautiful, right? By the way, it's called walnut. By the way, I did not shoot horizontally after all that. All right, hold. Nice. There we go. Horizontal. I properly chopped off the top of her head. I'm gonna go a tiny, tiny bit brighter. I tend to like stuff a little bit brighter. Yeah, like that. I may have chopped off too much of her head in that one. Yeah, a little bit too much of her head was chopped off there. You gotta, you know, balance how much of your head's chopped off, right? I mean, we don't want to do too much. But what if it was for a hair magazine? Well, too bad. All right, there we go. Nice, pretty. Yeah, I like how that color just kind of works. It's like it gives it an overall just warm palette, which is really nice. You know what I do now?
You know what you can do though?
What?
You can hit the background with a warm gel.
Yeah, from the back?
I don't think on the back.
Oh, all right.
Not if you want to really do that because you got to dodge the stand.
I was just gonna go like this. I'm gonna try something that's never been tried before on TV. I mean, I'm not really on TV, I suppose. When I watch myself, I'm on TV. Is anybody watching on a TV right now? Let me know. That makes me feel special. Should we just go for it? We're just going for it. Perfect. I'll give it a little more juice. By the way, the trick to all photography is to just say perfect no matter what. There we go. I gave it 2 more stops. Yeah. Wow, that is very minimal. Yeah, it's doing something. What that something is, we're not sure. I'm going to crank it. All right, that's it. That's all the juice we got. Oh, interesting. No, that's too much. Back where it was better. I'm going to roll out a high-speed sync, guys, just so I have a little bit more of an exacting thing here. And I'm going to throw it in TTL. Sometimes when things are getting a little bit weird, you should just start from scratch. All right, so here we go. There's a histogram on my screen for some reason. The histogram says perfect. Okay. All right, that's our beginning. She looks good. Let's just see if this is doing much at all. I think it's scraping across and not really doing much. So, but I'm just going to try to raise it 2 stops just to see what we get here. And then I'll move on if it's not working. Oh, double tap. There we go. No, not really. It was an experiment that didn't really do much.
That doesn't seem right.
Yeah, it should do more, right?
Something that's. This is. There's only at 7.
Yeah, yeah.
And this, oh, you know why? Because this is so dense. You're trying to feather across it, right?
Yeah, I was using the feather instead of hitting the thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I should have went right. It would, yeah.
What
Cause
I'm thinking is you put it here, and you did like a CTO and warm up the walnut.
yeah, that's a good idea. All right, we're gonna try that as soon as I just do this to. Well, what I'm kind of wondering here is the density of this thing. You know.
It's dense, man.
Yeah.
Like
All right, you get that. No, let me see. I'm right behind it now, guys. You can't really see it, I guess, but. Oh, double tap again.
double taps.
Oh, yeah. No, that's garbage. All right, good. Nobody saw that. Luckily, we weren't live streaming. All right, let's do this. Let's put a gel on. All right, so I wouldn't do that. Do I have my gels here? Yes, I do. You thinking a warming gel?
Yeah, just give it that like. It looks like doesn't it look like it could
Like a chocolate gel? That's too much.
either chocolate or just CTO it.
Yeah, chocolate.
You want to do chocolate? That'll make it like really vintage.
Yeah, we're going extra vintage.
You want more vintage?
We're going straight up Pottery Barn here.
Remember those catalogs that used to never stop?
Oh my god.
What do you want to do with the V2?
No, I was going to do it with this one, but I can't find my gel holder.
I'm going to pull it out from the back.
Perfect. All right, guys, we're going to throw a little warming gel on it. We know it's not a proper photo shoot unless the gels start coming out.
Or somehow I'm starting to grip.
Yes, with all the money I saved on the inexpensive camera, I'm putting gels.
No, they think this camera's too expensive still.
This camera's expensive?
That's what they're telling me.
Oh my god.
That's what they're telling me.
What camera is less expensive than this?
It's all been just pricing talk in there.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, it's been great.
This is actually probably the least expensive camera that I have. I mean, my phone costs more than this camera. By a lot.
You want to see like a Rebel or like a D3300 from a few years ago or something.
Oh, but that's an old camera. I don't have old cameras. Sorry, guys.
I know. We just don't cater to everybody directly, so
Well, can't. I could try to get a camera like that, but I do not own one, unfortunately. All right, you ready? So you have to come a little bit forward so that doesn't hit. Yeah. Yeah, try to stand not in the light. There you go. That's why the modeling light is good. There we go. Yep, I turned it off. I did it from here. All right, so now you're closer, so I'll drag this back a bit. Have I dropped this on you yet today?
Not today.
It's always important to say today, yes, this is the key here. All right, so once again, I'm doing one light at a time, as always. I'm giving the 8 light a little bit more juice because I feel like I want her to be a little bit brighter. Maybe even a little bit more. Okay. Yeah, let's go. This is good. I think this is the most I've used this 50mm lens since I bought it. Because that zoom lens on the Z6 is amazing. All right, that's good. So that's our front light, basically.
With the 2470?
Yeah, I love that
Yeah,
thing.
actually, it's surprisingly like really
Yeah,
good.
that 2470 f4 is a very nice lens. Oh, all right.
It's
Might-
got like a rust to it.
Yeah, we might need a little cinefoil on that or something, but we'll start there.
Oh, you want to flag it?
Well, it's hitting her in the face, in the grill. No, it's okay. Actually, just
Feeling like that.
pose like that where you're blocking where you can block the light. Yeah, I'll turn the modeling light on.
Light.
Yeah, block it so it doesn't hit you in the face. Hold on, this one. I gotta go to the right light. Let me go to the right light. All right, here we go, ready? Modeling light on. Nope. Here we go, modeling light on. Yeah, this is pretty good, right? Yeah, okay. I think it's coming out of the sides, basically. Yeah, exactly. Little grills on there so it doesn't get, hold on, let me just. Yeah, it's coming out the side so I can see it. Wow, it's nuts. Well, it's probably like that so that it doesn't melt the gel. All right, we're using the cinefoil, but not prep.
This is dollar store.
This is dollar foil.
This is unborn Brooklyn reflectors.
This is tin foil. Seth got this from a dollar store in Brooklyn. It's actually tin. Like, you know, it's not aluminum foil, it's actually tin. It's literally tin.
Yeah, I just got some infection from it.
Yeah, exactly. All right. There we go. Now we look more professional. There we go. There it is. That worked.
See, it looks good with that, right?
Yeah, I like the warming. Nice. Yeah, it's beautiful. And see, we flagged it off of her with the aluminum foil. Easy as that.
They're saying the aluminum foil is too expensive now.
The aluminum foil is too expensive.
I'm just kidding.
Well, okay. Well, that I don't know I could do. But, all right, I'm going to turn the background light down a bit.
I actually like it. Damn.
Not bad. Good. Oh, double tap again.
What is going on with your double?
I got sensitive fingers today.
Old shaky fingers, Norton we call them.
Yeah, but look at that. The second shot's always, that's nice with the warmth. That's pretty good, right?
Lucky you got lights that can recycle that quick.
That's right. Well, like I said, I saved the money on the camera, so I've got good lights. I think I'll add a reflector as well.
Oh,
Is there a Brooklyn reflector here?
that's not it.
I don't see it.
I'm looking at it right there. Step out, step out, step out.
I'm stepping out.
Dance for the people.
I'm stepping out. I'm stepping out. We're going to need a little fill at the bottom, not too much. Oh, there it is. That's fine.
Yeah, but
White is good. I don't need some. Didn't you just build one on TikTok?
yeah.
Seth's got 1 million views on TikTok.
We only have one left.
There's only one left. We got to make more. Seth's like a TikTok star now. I'm not a TikTok star. Not from lack of trying, I'll tell you that. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a little fill. Weird composition, but little fill. That worked well. Okay. Yeah, not bad. Just the composition's weird. Let me get a better composition. Yeah, I want to be back here. There we go. All right. I'll use the official one. Good, good, good. There we go. I just backed up a little bit, guys. See that? A little go. It's all about perspective. Yeah, it's pretty. See, here we have a little bit of wrinkles in the background. So now I might be like, oh man, the background's a little bit wrinkled. What can I do? Well, I have a fast lens. Let me go with shallow depth of field. All right, so I'm gonna go. All right, let's just do it, right? Paulina's like, do it, Daniel. And I'm like, all right, I'm doing it. I'm going down to 1.8. I'm gonna go up to a 6/40th of a second. That seems about right. If my math is right. Oh, my math is a little bit off, so I'll go to 1,000 of a second. Yeah, 1,000 should be good. There we go. There it is, right? Now we're, I mean, you can still see a little bit, but see how it's much more blown out? Again, this is the shallow, more shallow depth of field. We'll throw a little reflector action in there. So 1/1000 of a second, 1.8, Z50, done, right? Just like that. Nice and crispy sharp.
It goes nicer to makeup.
Yeah, smooth skin, nice color. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I approve of my own picture. The only thing that would make it better, am I gonna do that? Yes, I am. I wanna move it over, because this is still bothering me a little bit. I'm gonna,
Yeah, the spring isn't sitting straight. It's brand new.
yeah. No, I just wanna move it over so I can get the
Gotta
different.
break these backgrounds in a little better.
Yeah. All right, I just wanna move it over so I get the, I was trying to think of the laziest way to do it. I think that'll do it. There you go. Perfect, perfect. Chin up a tiny bit. Yeah. There we go. There we go, right? I changed what was behind her. I'm not sure we even need the reflector, to be honest with you. And since I've already used it, I can charge the client, so no problem. Whew. Yeah, that's beautiful. So you see what I did there, guys? The background just had a bit of wrinkles. All I really did was just move it over a little bit. You could also just move yourself, but I figured it was just easier to move the background than move the key light and everything else. But that's really pretty, right? Shot it up the field using a slightly more expensive lens. Still, this lens plus this camera is still like, less expensive than, let's say, just the Z6 body, right? So you're still.
You want to try a different color?
Yeah, let's try a different color.
I got one more left. Do you want to do the back of that, or you want to do this one?
No, let's do a new one.
Yeah.
We'll do one more color. And we're going to go, just because I'm crazy. I know what you're saying, guys. You're like, Daniel, you're already using such inexpensive stuff. Could you use something even more inexpensive? And I'm going to say, yes, I can. I have this 24 1.8, which actually costs as much as the camera plus the lens. So this is an upgrade.
Yep. This?
Ooh. Green? Yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to do horizontal or vertical?
Look, this is horizontal because I'm doing a 24. All right, this is a 24 millimeter, 1.8. This lens costs roughly what the camera plus lens that we started with costs. So I'm upgrading. So let's say you're a photographer and you're one of those people that always wanted somebody to say, wow, you have a really nice lens. This lens is going to do. Photographers hate that. Oh, I like that color.
What's the matter?
I like that color. That's very nice.
I feel like you could gel that to whatever you want.
I could. Let's see. Let's change the light too. We can't just change the background. These people paid good money to come to this show. All right. I'm going to use this one. We'll save that for later when I'm heating up my chicken wings
Don't throw that up.
in the oven. No, he's going to use that for Brooklyn reflectors.
I hate wasting foil. People just throw it away. It's like,
I'm not going to throw it away. I just told you I'm using it for my chicken wings. Throw those things in the oven, 350 for like 15 minutes. Warm them up. All right. I mean, I like chicken wings. Yeah. Yeah. All right, exactly. All right. All right, we got my Chimera, I got my Paulina, I've got my background. I'm gonna go on this side so that I'm not blocking you with the light. We're gonna go back to our classic 45 degree with the light in nice and close. This is the Chimera Pro 2. I'm using a 24 millimeter lens, like a baller. Oops. This is also a 1.8 lens. So you know what? Let's just shoot at 1.8. That's it. I've become one of those guys. I'm that guy that shoots it wide open. I'm doing it. I've done it. It's happened right now. You saw it. You witnessed it. How are you shooting? Wide open. All right, let's see. Oh, wow, this is wide. Okay. Zoop. I'm going to step right in like this.
oh wow, this is wild.
Yeah. All right.
Whoa.
That is terrible.
What did you do, bud?
Well, clearly I moved the light, used a different modifier, and didn't change anything. Okay, so.
Ah, boy. Well, good thing that you're at an entry level.
Right. This is the entry level class. All right. Actually, I'm going to need you to get closer to the background. That way I don't have to get so up in your face. This is not.
Do you want to pull the tether closer here?
No.
Or just pay attention to the slide.
Yep.
Whoa.
There we go. That's not bad. That's like your high school picture.
This background's pretty good.
Yeah, right? It's like, I'm graduating this year. I was on the debate team.
Oh, this one's called Sage.
Oh, it's called Sage, which is perfect because that's one of the best things to put on your turkey. And we have Thanksgiving coming, though. It's the only time you use it all year for your stuffing or dressing, depending on how old you are. Oh, come a little bit this way. Perfect. Yeah. Oh, yeah, this is pretty nice. Oh. I'm in high-speed sync, so it's just gotta, yeah, let me go out of high-speed sync. When you're in high-speed sync, you really gotta watch it. And I'm only in high-speed sync because the lights are so bright in here that if I shoot at 1.8, I'll pick up the light in here. So I'm going to go back to f4 at 1/160. So I might get a little bit of that light in here, but it should be good. I'm in TTL. Let's see what we get. I'm punched in, of course.
You know what it's doing? It might be trying to expose to the background.
Yeah, it's a wide shot. Yeah.
You want to switch to spot metering?
I could switch to spot metering.
That'll help out your TTL.
I'm going to switch to spot metering to help out my TTL. I made a video about this.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Because you didn't put it into practice, Daniel.
No, I didn't.
Are you going to put it into spot metering now?
I'm going to put it into spot metering for you.
Oh, man. Look at you.
Let's see if it works.
Look at you, buddy.
Yeah, perfect.
Not really.
Looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
Again, no matter what, always just say perfect. This is the key if you're learning anything here. Actually, I think that's a pretty nice exposure. If you think it's too bright, you are wrong. But if you thought it was too bright, we could always adjust it down.
We still have detail in our shirts.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like sometimes when people are watching it online, it looks too bright to them because of their monitors or whatever.
Live demo you and me have both done, the video looks way off.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's always tricky to see. And I'm one of those people that likes to push it close to the edge of the exposure, so.
Yeah, it's just radical.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually like that little shadow in the background too. It's stylized. That's a beautiful color. Sage.
It's like subtle but not boring.
It kind of looks like it could almost be like a pattern that would be painted on somebody's wall in a Pottery Barn catalog. See how we come back around to that?
I would do this for product shots.
Yeah, exactly. This would be really cute for product. This is not 24 millimeter lens, or 28, I should say. Rather. No, no, this is 24. No wonder why. 24 millimeter lens. You know, nice wide lens. I can get in. You can still shoot people with it. Show some environment, as it would be. Creates a scene with it.
Yeah, it's on a crop.
On a crop sensor, right?
It's like a 30.
Yeah. So it's like okay, this is math. It's a 36. So it's kind of a wideish lens, right? What you're going to do to determine your lens choice is really going to be where you want to stand and what you want to show in your shot, right? If I was restricted to one spot and I had to change up, you know, what was framed, then I would be able to change lenses, but obviously I can walk too, so all those things will factor in, right? If I want to get close, that changes the way that the scene is taken in. I can do that with a wider lens. I can, of course, go back to my 50, or if, let's say I want a lot of variety. Let's say I want variety. I know, see, you always have to end where you began. That's the key here. Look at this tiny little lens. The tiny little lens that could. This is the 16 to 50. I'll come in, I'll set it at 50, and I'll stand further back and frame her up. Oh. Is that the shot, or did it not work?
Did it come in?
I don't think so. Did I do it before the camera? Well, yeah, sometimes it takes the camera a minute to connect because I.
Plug and plug back in. Sometimes it's still in the bunker.
Oh, well,
It has some ideas.
perfect. All right, good. All right, here we go. So we're at 6.3. Remember that I had the whole thing set up. I'm in manual, right? Remember I was shooting at f4 before? I'm just going to throw it in TTL. I want to put it back in TTL because remember this lens is not as fast as the other lens, so I got to keep that in mind. I get the versatility of the zoom, but the lens is not as fast, so I need to shoot at 6.3 now. And you know, here we go. So we're not going to get quite as much shallow depth of field, but it does give me options, right? Where I can shoot it, like for instance, I can come in where I was at 24, right, and shoot that wide shot, and then I can just bang in and be like portrait, right? And that gives me the options with the zoom. There you go. Actually, I like this background. I like the wide.
You know, do one where she's like closer to the middle of the room and do that whole wide, everything to the shopping one.
Oh, you like that?
Well, now that you got this lens, like.
Yeah. All right, here we go. 16 millimeter. By the way, when you're doing this shot, guys, it's important to not put the camera to your face like some old person. You want to be cool. You're going to be like, yeah, man, I'm a photographer. Boom. Oops, hold on, I focused on the back. Oh, not on you, hold on. I have my focus point on the softbox.
It's overexposed.
Oh. Is it? Well, because I'm in TTL and it was on the softbox. There we go. I'm going to evaluate my exposure. It's a smidge bright. So I'm going to switch it back to manual. And I'm going to bring it down a few tenths. We'll try it again. Boom. There we go. Nice wide shot, 16 millimeter. And again, 16 millimeter on the crop sensor, which means that it's like a 24-ish on a full frame. I'll leave the room. No, I'm not going to leave the room. But I can also be like, watch this if I want a low shot. See how I did that pose? It's important. This is how the cool kids do it. You see all street photography? This is my street fashion. Yeah. Street fashion. Yeah. I could be here like sipping my Starbucks and be like, done. Yeah. That's like the first, by the way, back when you shoot film, that was the first frame of every roll.
That was frame 37.
Right. It's like you're loading the camera, you're like, all right, where are we at? Questions, thoughts, concerns? I mean, I can't use the less expensive camera. This is the least expensive one I have, so I cannot address that currently.
Just address the name of the background again and ask like 6 times.
Okay, the backgrounds are called Lastolite Vintage. Reversible collapsible vintage. I mean, that makes sense, I guess, because they are, in fact.
Put the link in the chat.
Oh, and Seth's going to put the link in the chat. The way they're held up is that magnet thing, which is pretty darn cool.
I know, right?
Magnetron is the name of that. Actually, that's not the name of it, but that sounds right. I will not cover the backside of my lenses. So the whole point of this, really, guys, besides me just wanting to get out and take pictures because it's been crazy, is don't be restricted by the gear that you have, right? This is a relatively inexpensive camera. Like you might say, well, it's not $200, but the thing is that if you're serious about photography and you want to, move forward, this might be an entry point for you, right? Something else might be as well. Look at the, I guess, limitations, if you will, of the camera. If I buy this straight out of the box, I'm looking at, the zoom lens is a 6.3 to 3.5, so I can't do that really super shallow depth of field 1.8. But that doesn't mean I can't do most portrait stuff because, as we've seen, you don't need to have a really shallow depth of field to get a nice clean portrait, especially a lit portrait, right? So use what you got and then you can upgrade. Look for an upgrade path. What's the best thing for me to do now? I can add a lens, right? And then when I, let's say later on upgrade the camera, that lens still becomes a viable thing. Or I can take the money I saved and buy some lights. So now I can do studio portraits instead of having a really expensive camera and lens that I can't do anything with because it's the middle of the winter and nobody wants to go outside, right? So you're looking at your overall budget of what you think you can spend and then putting together the best possible system within your budget, and you can still make some awesome shots. So I probably shouldn't leave up a terrible shot at the end when I say awesome shots. That was kind of, so let's end with like a nice shot. I'm gonna go to 50 again. I'm gonna throw it back in TTL. I'm at 6.3, 1/160 of a second. I'm gonna take a quick shot and see what the exposure is. We'll make an adjustment if need be. Oh, moody. That's pretty good. Just work your face towards the line. Oh, yeah, there we go. Boom, right? And we can make a nice clean portrait, right? Oh. What?
Can you just take one more shot? All right. Sign off, man. Do it.
That was the picture of the roof. Next time we will end with a picture of my shoes. Now, thanks for watching, guys. Paulina is P.
Oh, Instagram?
Yeah.
I'm like,
The same as Mike.
PAURUIZ 27. A little hard.
27.
Dan will leave it in a comment on this video.
Yeah, we'll leave it in a comment. Of course, follow her. Plus, if you watch a bunch of videos, she's there. Always amazing. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll be back hopefully in 2 weeks. Enjoy the Thanksgiving holiday as best you can, if you celebrate such things. And we'll be back soon, and we'll do something with inexpensive lights. See, now I teased it, so I have to do it. And we'll go from there. So thanks for watching. And thanks, Seth.